Do you guys love fall as much as I do? Well, if you do, then you're not going to want to miss today's video. Hi guys, welcome to my channel, Creatively Expressive. My name is Amy, and today I'm going to be sharing 5 fall DIYs using mostly Dollar Tree products. So if you're a big fan of fall and want some super cute DIY ideas, then please stick around. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so glad you found me. And if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. And I just want to say that I really do appreciate your continued support. Now let's get started. All right, let's get started. So for our first project, I'm using these 3 cutout signs that I got from the Dollar Tree, and this fall leaf sign that I also got from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to take these signs and I'm going to cut off that cutout area from the signs. And I'm going to cut each sign to about 16 inches long. And then I'm just going to take apart this leaf sign. I'm going to take apart that little leaf off of that sign and save it for something else. And then I'm just going to peel off all that paper, and then I'm going to sand this smooth. And now I'm just filling in those holes with some caulking. And then I got these poplar dowels, square dowels from Lowe's. They were $2.50 each. And I cut them down to 16 inches for the side pieces. And then for the middle pieces, it's 16 inches and 16 and 1/8 inches for those ones. And now I'm just taking this color Chestnut by Apple Barrel, and I'm going to paint that leaf with that color. And once that's done, I'm going to spray it with this matte Mod Podge spray. And now I'm just taking some antique wax, and I'm just waxing those dowel pieces. And I'm just putting the wax on and then rubbing it off with a baby wipe. And now I'm going to paint those sign pieces that I cut down to 16 inches with this white chalk paint. And I'm going to paint all 3 of them, even though the 2 of them are white, so that they're all the same shade of white and they match. And now I have this little Hello Fall cutout that I got from Dollar Tree. It came in a pack with a bunch of other little sayings. And I'm going to paint that with that white chalk paint too. And then I got this these leaf SVG cutouts off of Etsy. They were 94 cents. And I just put them together in my Silhouette Design Studio. And then I cut them out with my Silhouette Cameo. And I'm just putting it on half of that leaf. And then I'm just going to take an X-Acto knife and just cut off that extra vinyl that's hanging over the edge of that leaf before I pull away that transfer tape. And now that that's on there, I'm just weeding out the small areas of the leaf, the little details of it. And I did that, I waited to weed them until I got it onto the leaf so that it would be easier to weed. I don't know if it's actually easier, but that's why I did it. I think it's easier. A lot of times with little tiny, small detailed projects, so that you don't end up losing any of your pieces to your design. And now I'm just taking a little nail file that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm just filing along the edge of that leaf just to get off that extra vinyl so that it's smooth against the edge of that leaf. And now I'm taking some Star Bond heavy, thick adhesive, and I'm just applying it to some jumbo craft sticks. And I'm going to put them along the back of that sign to stick those 3 pieces together. And now I'm just taking some wood glue and I'm putting it on those square dowel pieces and applying it to my picture so that we have a frame. And I'm just gluing it right along the top of that picture. Super simple. And now I'm just taking some clamps that I got from the Dollar Tree just to put them on that frame until it's dry. And now I'm taking that Starbond adhesive and I'm putting it on the back of that little Hello Fall and then just gluing it to the other side of that leaf. And now we're just going to take some wood glue and put it on the back of that leaf. And then I'm also going to put some hot glue on that leaf too. And the wood glue is for a permanent hold and the hot glue is for an immediate hold. And I'm just going to put that down right in the center of that picture and then put a heavy book on it for a few minutes and some weights and let it dry. And that's it. What do you guys think? I think this one turned out gorgeous. And now for a second project, we're taking another one of those little cutouts that I got from the Dollar Tree that came in that pack. And this little pumpkin that also came in a pack of several pumpkins from the Dollar Tree. And then this little mason jar sign that I got from Dollar General for $1. And I'm just removing that metal piece from that sign and then I'm going to rip off all that paper and then I'm going to sand it smooth. And once that's smooth, I'm taking light mocha and nutmeg from Apple Barrel and I'm going to mix them together to create a little bit lighter shade of brown. And then I'm going to paint that mason jar with that lighter shade of brown that I just made. And now I'm adding some more of that light mocha to that brown that we just made just to get an even lighter shade of brown. And then I'm just going to dry brush it over that mason jar. And now I'm also taking some of that nutmeg brown, sorry, by itself and dry brushing that on. And then I added some melted chocolate, I think the color was, to that nutmeg brown to get a darker shade of brown. And I'm just using my ruler and I'm just painting on some lines over that mason jar just to make it look like the mason jar is like made with multiple pieces of wood. And I'm just using a fine detailed paintbrush to do this. And once that's all dry, I'm just gonna reapply that metal piece to the top of that mason jar. And now I'm just taking a fine detailed paintbrush and some white paint and I'm just painting some lines along the edge of that mason jar just to make it appear like it's glass and like the shine that you would get on glass. And now I'm taking this pumpkin chalk paint by Hello Hobby and I'm going to paint that little pumpkin with that orange. And now I'm taking this color that I mixed for another project. It's Waverly Moss Green and then also white chalk paint, just get a lighter shade of green. And I'm painting that Farm Fresh with that green color. And now I'm taking Brown Oxide and Khaki by Apple Barrel. And I'm mixing those two colors together. Sorry, I can't talk. And we're just going to paint the little stem area on that pumpkin with that color that I just made. And now I'm just adding, I'm just taking that khaki by itself, and I'm just painting on some little highlights onto that stem. And now I'm taking that brown oxide by itself and I'm just painting a little dark circle along the edge of that stem and then putting some shadow area on that stem with that. And now I'm taking some red chalk paint and some Tuscan Sun yellow chalk paint and I'm just going to mix up a few different shades of orange. So I'm going to mix the red with some of that pumpkin orange and then I'm going to mix that yellow with some of that pumpkin orange. And then I'm also going to mix some of that, I think that's brown oxide, just a brown color with that orange. And then we're also just going to have that pumpkin orange by itself. And I'm just going to dip my paintbrush into all of those colors just randomly and paint it onto that pumpkin just to give it more detail and I don't know, like shadowing and highlighted areas and stuff. So I take that red and I put it on one side, and then I mix some of that orange with it. And then I'm going to take that lighter orange and put it on part of it to add like little highlights to the pumpkin. And you can see it's already starting to look more, I don't know, I can't think of the word, detailed, like less flat looking. And then I'm taking that brown orange color and I'm putting it along the edges of each of the sections of that pumpkin just to create like the shadow and like the indentations or the grooves on the pumpkin. I might not make any sense, but you can see what I'm doing here. And you just have fun with it. You just keep mixing the colors together while they're wet to get like a nice, oh man, I can't talk today. This cool effect. So it's not just like a flat, boring pumpkin. And now I'm just going to glue everything onto that mason jar. So I'm using this gel super glue from the Dollar Tree to glue on that pumpkin. And then I'm using this Aleene's tacky glue to glue on that Farm Fresh. And I'm using that tacky glue and not the super glue because I have more control with that smaller tip on that glue bottle. That's why I'm using different glues for each one here. And that's it. What do you guys think? I think this one turned out super cute. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And now for our third project, I'm taking Moss Green by Waverly, French Linen by Hello Hobby, and Pumpkin Orange also by Hello Hobby. And we're taking these three like ceramic looking pumpkins that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to paint one of them with that French linen color. And then I'm going to paint one of them with that moss green color. And then I'm going to paint the third one with that pumpkin orange color. And now I'm just taking some white chalk paint and I'm just going to dry brush over those pumpkins with that white chalk paint. And I think it kind of gives it a cool, like, to me at least, I think it looks like, gives them like a fabric look, like they're wool or something. I don't know, I just think they look really cute this way. It just makes those raised details just stand out more. And now I'm taking this wild mushroom color chalk paint by Hello Hobby. And first I'm just using a fine detailed paintbrush to paint along the bottom of that stem so I don't get it on my pumpkin. And then I'm taking a little bit larger brush and I'm filling in the stem with that color. Then I just paint enough coats until it's a solid brown and it looks nice. And once these are done, I'm going to spray them with that that Mod Podge spray just to seal in the paint. And that's it. What do you guys think? I think these ones are so cute. And now for our fourth project, I'm taking these three pumpkin signs that I got from the Dollar Tree. And for this one, I'm going to fill in that hole with some caulking, and then once it's dry, I'll sand that smooth. And then for this one, I'm going to pull off that jute twine hanger, and then I'm going to take off all the paper from the top of it and sand it smooth. And now I'm just going to put the pieces right up against each other and then use some painter's tape to hold it together so that I can put it on top of this piece of scrapbook paper and outline the pumpkin onto the scrapbook paper. And then I'm also just going to outline each piece individually. And that pumpkin sign was a little bit too large for that scrapbook paper. You can see it's going over like that perforated edge. So I have a second piece of that same scrapbook paper, and I'm just going to trace that top piece of that pumpkin onto that second piece of scrapbook paper so that the whole thing fits and that there's no perforated edge on my pumpkin. So that's what I'm doing right now. Now I'm taking this Cafe Noir and I'm just painting my pieces with that color. And you don't really need to do that, but I don't know. I did. And now I'm taking some regular size paint sticks and I'm cutting them a little bit shorter so they'll fit onto the back of that pumpkin. And then I'm painting those with that same Cafe Noir. And now I'm going to take some matte Mod Podge and I'm going to Mod Podge those scrapbook papers onto the top of that pumpkin, onto each section of that pumpkin. And once I have all those papers on there, I'm going to go back over the paper, over the top of the paper with another coat of that Mod Podge. So that it's more protected than like a regular piece of paper would be. And now I'm just taking a sander and I'm sanding along the edge of those, the pumpkin, just so that the paper matches up perfectly with the edge of that pumpkin. And now I'm taking those paint stir sticks and I'm outlining where I want to glue them onto the back of that pumpkin. And now I'm just adding some wood glue, and then I'm also going to add some hot glue. And the wood glue is for permanent hold and the hot glue is for an immediate hold. And I put painter's tape along the front of this so that they would stay together while I glued those sticks on, which was a bad idea because you can see here as I'm taking that tape off, it ripped part of my paper off. And I didn't think it would do that since I had the Mod Podge on there, but I was wrong. So I had to cut out, luckily I had 2 pieces of this scrapbook paper, so I just cut out another piece to go over that area. So I just add that piece over that area, and then I'm going to Mod Podge over that again. And now I have this piece of scrapbook paper that I'm going to use on this pumpkin. And I'm just using my Cricut squeegee scraper tool just to like get those indents of that pumpkin onto that paper so that I know where to cut out. And then before I cut it out, I'm outlining those areas with a pencil so it's easier for me to see when I'm cutting them out. So I'm just going to cut those pieces out. And they will be Mod Podged onto those raised areas, but first we're going to paint the pumpkin. So I'm taking this leaf green and then I just add a little tiny bit of that nutmeg brown to it. And then I decided it was still too dark, so then I went back in and added some white to those 2 colors, and I'm repainting that pumpkin with that because I'm trying to get it to kind of match the green on that scrapbook paper. And now I'm just Mod Podging on those pieces of the scrapbook paper onto the raised edges of that pumpkin. And now I'm just putting Mod Podge over the entire pumpkin. And now we're just taking this little pumpkin thing. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be, and I'm ripping it apart. And we're going to use that piece of the pumpkin that was solid and painting it with some Lagoon Blue by Apple Barrel. And now I'm taking two of these little wood pallets from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to glue them together with a combination of wood glue and hot glue. And then I'm using a little piece of a paint stir stick to make it more solid and secure. So I just glue that piece of that stick in the center. And now I'm painting that whole thing with this Cafe Noir chalk paint. And now I'm taking some nutmeg and some King's Gold by Apple Barrel, and I'm going to paint this little Give Thanks wood cutout that came in a pack from Dollar Tree. And I'm trying to match that little gold leaf that's sitting there next to it. And now I'm taking some super glue and I'm putting it on the inside of that back row of that palette. And I'm going to glue in my largest pumpkin off to one side of that palette. And it's a little too skinny, so I'm going to take a little piece of a craft stick and glue that behind that so that it stands up better. And now I'm doing that with the second row of that palette. I'm putting some more glue in there on the other side, and I'm going to put that green pumpkin on the other side. And that craft stick was too skinny to go behind the green one, so I have these little wood circles that I got from Amazon, and I cut them in half, and I'm just going to put glue 2 behind that green pumpkin so that it will stand up. You could also use some of those Jenga blocks from the Dollar Tree to make your pumpkin stand up better, but I didn't think about that until afterwards. So now I'm just gluing this Give Thanks onto that blue pumpkin, and then I'm going to take that blue pumpkin and I'm going to glue it to the front row of that palette, and I'm putting it right in the center. And then I'm going to put one of those little half wood circles behind that blue pumpkin so that it will stand up good. And now I'm taking this little leaf that was from our very first project that I ripped off of that larger leaf, and I'm just going to use some of that gel super glue from the Dollar Tree and then also some wood glue to glue that onto that large brown pumpkin. And then I just made a little finger bow out of some jute twine, and I glued that to the center of that green pumpkin. And that's it, guys. What do you guys think? And now for our final project, I'm using this little wood palette pumpkin from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just putting some painter's tape on the back of those holes, and then I'm filling in those holes with some caulking. And then I'm going to use 2 of these beach signs that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to rip off the paper. And we're just going to use the clean backside of those signs. So I don't even know why I wasted my time ripping off the paper. And now I'm just tracing this little palette pumpkin onto a piece of scrapbook paper. And then I'm just going to cut out the pieces. And then I was trying to paint the edges of this pumpkin with some Cafe Noir, just so if they showed through, it would look nice. And then part of the front of that sign started peeling off on me. And I tried to glue it back down, but it didn't work out for me. So I just painted it brown. And now I'm just Mod Podging that scrapbook paper over the tops of this pumpkin here. And I was originally going to use this pumpkin for the previous project, but when it started falling apart on me, I thought it would be too flimsy to stand up. So then I decided that I was going to place it onto this pumpkin that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I thought it would be like like one of those wood round hanger signs. But then I started painting this pumpkin and it got all warped. And so then I thought that both of them would be too flimsy on their own. So then I decided to put them onto these signs here. And so I'm just taking these signs and I'm going to cut off like one of the rows off of each sign because I thought it was too wide for the pumpkins. So instead of having like 3 little rows here, like it's gonna have 2 rows each. So then we'll have 4 rows total instead of 6 rows total, if that makes sense. And so I'm just gonna glue some painter sticks onto the back of that sign so that they'll hold together good. So I'm just using wood glue and then also hot glue, and I just put 3 sticks across the back of that. And now I'm just gonna paint this entire thing with that wild mushroom color chalk paint by Hello Hobby. And then I'm going to take some Cafe Noir and then that wild mushroom, and I'm going to mix it together to get a little bit darker shade of brown. And I'm going to dry brush that over this, and it's gonna create like a more realistic wood look. And so I just dry brush a little bit in the centers, and then I make sure to go over each of those middles so that it looks like separate pieces of wood that are glued together or that are attached together, if that makes sense. You can see the shadowing is starting to show up here. You can see what I mean. Because I don't always think I make a lot of sense, but you can see what I'm doing here. And now I'm just adding a little bit of, I think it's linen color chalk paint to that wild mushroom to get a lighter shade of brown. And then I'm going to dry brush that over the whole sign. And I'm just trying to get it to look more like real wood. And now I just added some Cafe Noir to that brown to get a darker shade of brown. And I'm just going to draw lines across the sign where each of the dips are so that they look like separate pieces of wood. So I just use my ruler and line it up, and then I just run my paintbrush along the edge of that ruler. And I don't want like a super perfect line because I want it to look more like it's shadow and not like a perfect line. And now I changed my mind. I had painted that one pumpkin orange and I didn't really like it, so I changed my mind, and now I'm repainting it with this toasted marshmallow color by Apple Barrel, and you can see how warped the pumpkin gets when you paint it. That's why I thought it wouldn't work out as just a hanger on its own. And now I'm going to just use some wood glue and then also some hot glue, and I'm gonna glue that toasted marshmallow pumpkin onto that sign. And once that's on there, we're going to glue that palette pumpkin on top of that toasted marshmallow pumpkin with some wood glue and some hot glue. Just right in the center of that toasted marshmallow pumpkin. And now I'm taking some Star Bond thick glue, and I'm going to glue this cute little leather word that I got from the Dollar Tree that says grateful to the center of this pumpkin. And it came in a pack of 4 words, 2 grateful and I think 2 blessed. And now I'm taking this really cute ribbon that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to make a simple bow. So you just like make a awareness ribbon shape with your ribbon, and then once you do that, you just like pleat it down the center. So I didn't really have an exact measurement in mind. I just like made it before I cut it, and then I decided I liked the size, so then I cut it, and it ended up being about 27 inches long, I think. So you just make that awareness ribbon shape like I said, and then you just pleat it down the center. And then once you do that, you just take a pipe cleaner and secure it in the center. And then I'm just going to take another little piece of ribbon, and I'm just pleating it across that bow And then I'm just going to hot glue both of the ends to the back of that bow. So I just hot glue the one end first. And then I'm going to cut it off of my spool of ribbon here. And then hot glue the other end onto it. And then after I do this, I'm just going to dovetail the end of that ribbon. Which means you just fold the pieces, the tail pieces in half, and then you just cut down the center. And it creates like a little V shape in the center of that. And then I just take a lighter and I just burn the edges so that they don't unravel on me. And then I'm just gonna hot glue that bow into the center of those two pumpkins. And that's it, guys. What do you guys think? I think this one is really cute. It took me like a few tries on this one. I didn't really have anything specific in mind. I had like a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C, and but I think it really turned out cute. What do you guys think? And that's it, guys. That's all the projects that I have for you today. I have more fall projects coming out soon, so if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing so that you don't miss those. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please leave me a comment below and let me know which one of these was your favorite. And that's all, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye! Video. Hi guys, my name I do, then if making fall DIYs and it's 103 degrees outside. It might be 103 degrees outside today, but it's fall in my heart.